about a year ago, was out in Durham, my hometown, 2 o'clock in the morning. All my friends had gone home. Obviously, I was off my face. Came out of a pub and there was a fight going on. One lad was just standing there while the rest were getting dragged back. I went up to the other guy, which is something I end up doing when I'm drunk, trying to kind of pacify everything. And next thing I knew, I was waking up, on the cobbled streets of Durham with the bouncer saying, "Are you all right? Do you want an ambulance? Do you want to press charges?" Obviously, I did what everyone does, said no, and then went back and had another pint in the pub. But that really was the last straw. I'd been trying not to drink for quite a few times, probably 5 or 6. I'd got 30 days quite easily, quite a few times, up to 120 days when I was doing my marathon running and things in training. So I knew I could do it, and I was sick of the hangovers, taking 2-3 days each time to get over one night's drinking. And also a lot of the negative consequences of drinking. I had quite a few anger issues over the years, and that wasn't so good. So that was kind of the basis for my reasons. I've got a health issue as well to do with my liver, inherited condition. So the less I drink, the better. My dad's got liver cancer at the moment, so that was another driver as well. So I'd read a few books and done a few things. I'd done 28 days without alcohol, so that was that's a good book, and it was a good start. Goes through each day how you're going to react, how your body's going to feel, and obviously give you motivational tips as well. That was fine, but again, doing that, I was getting to 30 days and you're doing, the celebration thing like we do for everything. Any good news, bad news, celebration, let's have a drink. So that wasn't really sticking. So to be honest, I'd got to the point where I didn't know whether I should go to AA or not. But the thing was, I knew I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have a alcohol dependency at all. It's just a negative thing when I go out drinking. I'm one of these people that I start and I can't stop. I go out 6-7 o'clock with the idea of just having a couple of pints, and 2 o'clock in the morning I'm still out, or I'm out getting food somewhere. So it had to stop. So I got what was a 12-step journal, and basically the first step was probably the one that changed a lot of things for me. So in the first step, you write down the history of your drinking. So it's not just your drinking, it's kind of what you had when you were growing up. So, I'm from the northeast. My dad was someone that went out 5-6 times a week. 5-6 times a week. 7-8 o'clock he would go out and come back in 11 o'clock, and as a kid I would hang around at the top of the stairs hoping he was bringing a takeaway in so I could go down and get something. So I saw that a lot. It didn't seem to be problematic. There wasn't any issues around the house with alcohol, and that's just what people did. His dad did it as well. Working class men, that's what they do. They go out for a couple of pints after they've had a drink, after they've had a day at work. So that was looking at the past history, and then started looking at kind of, as I was 16, 17, getting into those same patterns as well. So going out on a Friday night from 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock at the heavy metal night, because that's what I'm into as well. I can't remember any of those nights. I was having a bottle of Thunderbird, which was a strong fortified wine, and then 6 or 7 pints of Newcastle Brown Ale after that. Then hitting the kebab stall on the way home. So that's hitting all the things that then, as life went on, like early 20s, doing the same thing as my dad, really going out 6-7 times a week. There was a group of us who used to go down to the same pub all the time, so we would do that. And, again, out till 2 a.m. sometimes at the various nightclubs there was around Durham at the time. So that really set the scene for as life went on and I became a father. Drinking then was either a combination of, particularly when I worked away, because I worked away a lot when my daughter was growing up. I ended up going out Friday, Saturday nights, kind of binge drinking, watching gigs and things like that. And then Wine Wednesday was a thing, so that was like 2 bottles after that. So that's really my history. It's the standard thing, too much all the time. Putting weight on because you're drinking so much, and also like eating snacks as you're drinking, and then the kebab or pizza, garlic bread, whatever it is that you have afterwards. So that was really what I learned from my history there, and that helped me see the recurring patterns that were going on that I'd learned as I grew up, and that then continued kind of in my life. The second part of step 1 is, you're right, my hair's going mad in this wind. The first part of step 1, the second part of step 1, is you then write down your shame inventory. And I'll be honest, mine got up to 3 figures, and there's a lot of bad ones in there. A lot of, things that answer bad days off work, things like that. But some like arguing in front of kind of my sister and her young kids with a girlfriend at the time about South African history, having a row with neighbours in front of my daughter, just lots of things like that. As I said, got up to 100 plus. And obviously that's enough just to get the mind going as well. So there were the 2 things, but then after that I stopped drinking a couple of more times and started again. And then someone recommended the book The Naked Mind, which is kind of a psychology book. It's a little bit like Huberman, but I think it was wrote well before he got popular. And that just talks about the mental side, really. Again, how we're conditioned to drink alcohol by our past and what's going on and all the advertising, and just everything is pushed towards drinking, the psychological side of it. But in that, there was like kind of one mindset switch that was huge for me. Like all the previous times before that, you say, I'm trying not to drink. And in that, kind of when you go out, you say to your friends, I'm trying not to drink. But, it's, I'm trying. And it's okay if you fail, because you'll just try again afterwards. And, that's just what happens. After that, the change in the mentality in the book was to say, you don't drink. And that just changes things in that, you go into a pub, you've probably driven there, because that's what I do. I drive there. Distracted by people walking past on the beach. You drive there, so you can't drink anyway. Well, I don't drink. But as well, I'm going into a pub with that mentality. I don't drink. I'm not looking at what the alcohol is. I'm looking at what the alcohol-free options are. Same if you go to the supermarket, you don't have to go down the alcohol aisle, because I don't drink. I don't need that. Unless I've gone for the alcohol-free stuff. And then, there's the one section that you go to. So that just really helped in that mentality. And the other thing I stopped doing was count how many days. So I don't drink anymore. I don't need to count how many days it is. And that really benefited us. And I think that's the big difference between, because what I didn't want to do by going into therapy type thing, there's a lot of people that go into that seem to be stuck with it for the rest of their lives. Now, in a positive way, that might be for them. But I didn't want that. I don't want to be a drinker anymore. I don't want to be defined by that. I've followed Rich Roll a lot, who's a former alcoholic, very big podcaster these days. I followed him from the beginning while he was podcasting in Hawaii, #1 podcast. So a lot of his stuff, but he's very much tied to being a former addict. Recovery's kind of his life. And as I said, I don't want that. And in this change of mindset for me, he's just made that the case. I don't drink. I don't have to think about it at all. I'm now I'm a year into that ish. I don't actually know when it was. It was September, October-ish last year. So I don't know how many days because I'm not counting. And as I said, when you're counting, you get to that point where you hit a milestone and you think, oh, well, I'll celebrate. I'll have a drink this weekend and I'll just start again next time. And so that change of mindset has been huge. As I said, it's been so easy just one day changing over because I had the will and the mindset. Has just made everything really easy. And I'm currently, as I said, I've been about a year gone alcohol free. And that's included, I've been 6 months now traveling around Asia. Not even being tempted to have a drink. I've been in a couple of pubs to watch football matches and things like that. But at no point have I been tempted to drink, even when I've been out with people who've got hammered. I've been able to socialise fine. I've travelled around with, people for a number of days while they're still partying. Done some daft things, particularly in Thailand, everyone just drinks and drives. I've been in cars with people driving off the faces while I'm sober, which probably isn't ideal. So I haven't lost that that streak of danger totally. But this really, has been a massive thing for me. And it's really improved my life. I've never been so happy and content. I'm, as I said, 6 months into traveling, and it's just been absolutely amazing. And, I've saved money, which has basically helped pay for this trip. My mental health's much better, which will be something I'll go into further on the channel. And it has just changed my life. So obviously stopped to Sober October. It's about to happen. And my plan is to post a load of content over the coming weeks to help people out, go through things on my journey that I've learned. So that hopefully doing Sober October is kind of a springboard for you to perhaps go into an alcohol-free life and see the benefits of that. Because the one thing that we're kind of learning now from the research is that all these supposed benefits that there were really aren't the case. Resveratrol is the obvious one for starters in wine. Everyone says wine's good for you. Well, you need absolutely loads of it to get the level of resveratrol that you need, and a bunch of other things as well. I think one of the founders, a lot of the research that was saying that non-drinkers died earlier when they've kind of took away some of the obvious people that were doing that because they had diseases. It's shown that actually alcohol is not beneficial whatsoever. So that's my first walk with David. I watched a podcast on YouTube the other day saying try different things. So I'm trying this. This might become a regular thing that I'll go on a walk and talk